So it's our first morning here in the transformed Witmorskloof Oxwagon camp. It's so weird waking up, coming outside and feeling like you're in a completely different place. It's going to make the hunting tough, but I think it'll be good nonetheless. We're going to head out later and hopefully get some monkeys. Anton is here, so Anton's going to show us around and hopefully we can get to some new spots. For now, we're enjoying some coffee.
Coffee gulped down and magazines loaded up, Nicole and I were keen to get the hunting started, and we hopped in the Hilux bound for Anton's house. We are on our way to the farmhouse to go pick up Anton, who is going to be driving around with us. Now we've got a bit of a space dilemma because the back seats are full of guns, so we might have to go in Anton's vehicle, but hopefully Anton can show us some spots that we wouldn't have found otherwise, so we'll see what happens. So we've just hopped onto the back of Anton's truck. Mine just unfortunately doesn't have enough space for the three of us right now with all the guns, but we've got the impact, we've got the 22-50, and we've got the camera, so hopefully we can get some good footage. We didn't really have a set plan aside from just allowing Anton to point out spots that we may not have previously focused on before, and he directs us north along the Witmos River towards a cliff face that I'd never really taken the time to properly inspect before, probably just through lack of patience. As we pull up to the cliffs, we get our first shot of the day, a rock pigeon. Not what we expected to see, but a great start.
You are absolutely dropped that one.
You did it on the spot.
There the dassies are running.
The mood suddenly gets very serious as we see a Dassey on the cliff face and I get out the rangefinder. A little under 100 meters, just over 100 yards, not an easy shot.
Okay, I'm on him, so I think I'm on him.
Is it the one that its head is facing to the rock?
There's like that slanted rock in the white stuff. Yeah, I'm on him. Oh, lovely.
Yo. Dropped him in the head. Come, Matt, there's another one if you want to shoot. Back.
Okay, I see one running there.
Okay, yeah, that one. You could shoot that. Ooh. Ooh. Try and shoot that rock pigeon.
Yeah. 2 shots in a row, 97 meters, 91 meters. The SIG BDX rangefinder tells me exactly what to dial. 2.3 mils for the first shot, 2 mils for the second shot. It's so easy with this gun. Go for it, Anton.
Here's Anton's shot from earlier. It couldn't have been more perfect. The Dassey was facing away, which I think is probably the best possible angle because gives a clear shot at the head and neck without the jaw really getting in the way, and that 34 grain javelin slug just switches him off straight away.
I've programmed the ballistic calculations, the scope height, everything on my phone. I've Bluetooth through the data, and that has the applied ballistics software in it.
Okay.
So it's super cool because it even takes the angle into account.
Yeah. So when it says 1.95, then you basically just put it on 1.9.
1.9 or 2.
Okay.
But with this, yesterday I was ranging a spot of water 200 and something meters. It told me 13 mils, and it's 10 and then 11, 12, 13.
Yeah.
And then it hit me exactly where I aimed.
Sure.
So it's for long range shooting, it's awesome.
Perfect, yeah.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Okay.
We spot a very well camouflaged rock pigeon on the cliff face, and Anton prepares to take a shot.
Well, I'm just going to go.
It's always great to shoot these birds in their natural habitat as opposed to at a dairy farm or something, but he flies off and lands in a tree, and I attempt to take a rather tricky shot with just his head sticking out.
Yeah, I basically have to go for a headshot.
give it a try.
Just missed him. That was a really tough shot because he was basically right behind a branch. His whole like vitals area was behind a branch and only his head was showing. Took a chance and missed him. But you know, you think of pigeon hunting, you think of sort of pest control on dairy farms and stuff, but this is actually, there's an element of pest control because they do cause problems around the farm. But to hunt a rock pigeon in the rocks in its natural habitat where it kind of just blends into the rocks and you have to look hard to see them, that's quite special. It's a fun hunt. It's almost like hunting dassies actually. It's nice to get one down, even though it was one on the ground here, but 2 dassies and a pigeon. It's a great start to the morning, and this is really the kind of hunting I enjoy. You know, it's fun to drive around and shoot stuff, but to actually park off somewhere and glass the rocks and find stuff, range stuff, you know, get settled down and take a shot is a lot of fun. Obviously we won't shoot many more dassies here. We, you know, as a game animal, we want to leave them for future hunters, so we probably won't shoot any more here. But you know, if you want to come here and hunt, you could park off here early in the morning with a cup of coffee and wait for them, and it would be an awesome hunt. So first time I've been to this spot, but glad we found it, and this is why we have Anton here. He knows this place like the back of his hand.
The next thing we need to do is to go retrieve the dassies, and it's funny how you only really realize how far 100 meters is when you have to cover the distance on foot, especially when the vegetation is so overgrown like this. I have to admit, I was a little bit nervous about getting picked on the foot by a snake, but this is Africa and I've learned to just live with the risk. Down at the bottom, a rather beautiful and tranquil scene awaits.
So here's the Dassey that I shot, so second Dassey. It was more on the left hand side of the cliff, which is above me here. It obviously tumbled down and fell quite hard. But yeah, Anton's just busy looking for his Dassey on that side. What's really cool though is this river, as we've mentioned before, hasn't been flowing in years. This is amazing that it's just flowing like this. It creates quite a cool kind of ecosystem environment here for the dassies because they've got fresh drinking water, they've got green vegetation on these cliffs, like speckworm and other plants that they can live off, and obviously they've got the shelter of being in the cliff as well. So everything they need, and obviously their population with this water coming down will start to grow now as they can, you know, the carrying capacity of this area increases, and that's going to mean that as, you know, us or any other hunter comes here in the future, their population is going to keep growing. So yeah, sustainability is important. These aren't like the traditional sort of pest animals you want to wipe them out. These are game animals. The farm workers eat them. They taste really good, and so you want to keep their population growing. So we've taken 2 and we'll leave all the rest and let them breed. But yep, amazing animal to hunt, one of my favorite animals. Actually didn't get the head, hit him here kind of upper chest, and it came out the back, big exit wound, so obviously did a lot of internal damage in his chest cavity and spine area, and he definitely wouldn't have lasted long, so super happy about that.
We aren't able to retrieve Anton's Dassey, unfortunately. It was a perfect shot, but it just got caught in a bush halfway up the cliff as it fell, so we'll have to leave it for the birds of prey. Free meal is hard to come by nowadays. It's great to see that life is thriving here now that the drought has been broken.
Probably some kudu or some daiko or something. They've had their long original for years. They've been walking through these paths. Now with the long grass, they've been making paths. So me and Matt and Nicole came on one of those paths through the bush here. And now they don't have to go and drink in any water troughs or anything. They've got a natural river going past, and this, you can't get fresher than this. This is amazing how much water we got.
Hopefully if there's any snakes, Anton scares them away, 'cause I'm a little bit exposed here.
As you can see with the rain, also comes lots of seeds, and in Afrikaans they call it klits, that sits on your jerseys. So there's also a bit of disadvantages with the rain, but there's nothing better than the grass looking like this.
Yeah, you can see, got a bit of stuff on me too.
Back at the truck, we pick up the rock pigeon that Anton shot earlier, and I'd say that that's a great start to the day. Stay tuned though, because there's plenty more to come. We spot a few ground squirrels a couple kilometers down the road. Anton lines up on one at about 60 meters away, but he pops down his hole and doesn't emerge again. I also spot one much further away at about 145 meters.
I better down.
Unfortunately, I take a little too long getting steady and he makes a break for it.
Yes, he's running there.
Just for interest's sake though, I take a shot at the spot where he would have been, and once again my drop data is confirmed to be spot on. If only he had sat just a few seconds longer. We keep on moving, heading for another of Anton's secret spots, and it feels like we've just hit the jackpot as we stumble across a huge group of dassies. Once again, this is a long shot, but the green machine gives me so much confidence, and it's game over.
Ooh. Perfect. Is there any more up there?
There were lots, but they ran.
Yo, how was that, eh? Amazing. 112 meters. Held a little bit for the wind. 3.2 mils. Perfect. Man.
You nailed
I
it.
love this gun. It's amazing, like through the years, when we came here originally, we had to use the firearms so much because the air guns weren't really capable of taking these slightly more difficult shots. I think it was 2016, like the very first Oxwagon Diaries episode we ever made, Luke took a shot here with an air gun. And I was so amazed that he got it. It was the exact same spot. And nowadays, like this distance, it's dialing a few mils and that's it, easy. It's amazing how far technology's come. But yeah, nice to get another Dassey down.
Ah, and another one, even further than the first.
Absolutely nailed him.
Got him. 115 meters. Very similar.
You can see how violent the recoil is here. That's Newton's third law. It kicks hard because that slug packs a punch, and I promise you, the Dassey felt it a lot more than I did. Anton takes us along a road that I didn't even know existed, and this was a really cool discovery for me because this valley seemed to be full of rock structures that just looked perfect for dassies.
The road's been washed away here a bit in this new area where Anton's taken us, but there's some promising looking Dassey spots, so we're just taking a bit of a walk with the impact, and hopefully we can come across some.
From inside the valley, we have a good view of all the rocks around us, so every few minutes we just stop and take some time to glass around for movement. To our surprise, we spot a grey, fluffy mischief running around on the rocks, and monkey fever sets in as I drop down into ant-infested grass to try get a shot off. The ants are killing me.
We'll still get lots.
I get another opportunity, but this time I see the wind push it off to the right.
So we came in here looking for dassies and ended up spotting a few monkeys right on the top of the mountains, 170 meters or so away. If I'd had the 22-50, I would have been able to smash him, but at that distance with the air gun, you've got to range, you've got to consider the wind, and then over here we have to lie down amongst these ants that just munch you, so you've basically got a few seconds to take a shot. Unfortunately there, I got my elevation spot on, but the wind just pushed it maybe that far to the side of the monkey. I should have known. Down here you don't feel it, but if you're shooting across a valley, normally in the middle of the valley the wind's pushing a bit harder, so that wind just pushed it just a little bit away, but it was centimeters. If I'd just held a bit more to the left, I think I would have smashed that monkey. So a nice thing about being in a beautiful area like this is, even when you're not having luck with the rifle, you still get to see some cool stuff. We're walking through here and saw some digging marks on the ground here, and Anton said it's most likely a porcupine, and sure enough, 2 meters down the road, porcupine quill. So yeah, these porcupines, they are quite problematic for farmers because they're actually rodents, and they when there's water pipes under the ground for irrigation, they dig them up and chew holes through them. So who knows, maybe we'll get 1 or 2 of them with a night vision at some point on this trip, but just nice to see some signs of life here in an area that just a few months ago was bone dry. Quick stop at the Oxwagon camp for a quick brunch, and yeah, I think I need to probably grab a hat as well, but I think a little bit of fuel in our stomachs and maybe another layer of sunblock will be great. How amazing is this weather? It was pretty miserable this morning, but it's cleared up nicely and might get a bit hot, but at least there's not too much wind. Perfect shooting conditions for monkeys, dassies, whatever we may find.
The next location on our agenda is the neighbouring farm, which often has monkeys running around causing mischief, particularly close to the pivots where the monkeys pull up all the crops. Unfortunately, we don't have much luck at the first area we try, maybe because the wind is just so strong here, but nonetheless, it's always fun driving around here. There's no shortage of sights to see. Along the river, we spot a nice bushbuck ram, highly sought after in South Africa, but not on our list today. We decide to make a stop along the canals, where the rock structures have provided us many dassies in the past. Dassies are very unpredictable creatures, so you never really know if you'll be in luck or not. And at first, all we see is a red bishop bird, but patience pays off as we begin to see some movement.
Shot. There you go.
Ooh,
Solid shot on Dassey, 72 meters. It's about a mil. Aimed on the head and straight down. Nicole, I think it's your turn now.
Nicole doesn't have a lot of experience with the green machine, but an impact is an impact and she gets the hang of it straight away. The first Dassey she sees gets away before she can take a shot, but she soon gets another opportunity and makes it count with a perfect headshot.
Perfect.
solid. First shot of the day, got him down, so exciting.
So we had a really good run with the green machine, the Mark II, shooting the 34 grain javelins at around 1,000 feet per second. We've just switched to the M3, which is my new bronze M3 that I've set up with a 600mm barrel shooting 26 grain slugs at 1,000 feet per second. So it's essentially the same speed, very similar scope height. The only difference between the two is slug weight. So I'm very curious to kind of get a feel for how terminal performance changes between the two, and also how the slight BC difference affects wind drift and drop and stuff like that. I think we're very lucky to have two of some of the greatest guns ever made with us today. We actually haven't even got a chance to use the 22-250 yet, which is amazing. I think with this green vegetation, everything that we do get opportunities at is quite close. We can't really see very far because everything's so thick, and everything feels safer as well. So for example, the monkeys we come across, they feel safer in the thick stuff, so they stay where they are. They don't try and run away. But it's been a good day so far. It's getting a bit hot now, but we'll endure it for the sake of the good hunting.
Where was it? Was it here? My left.
Which one?
On
the kill shot.
Yeah.
This big bush right here?
Yeah.
It was literally in the bush, just on that rock, just underneath to the right. It was sitting watching us.
With 2 shots taken already, most of the dassies had retreated down their holes, and Anton had to wait quite a bit before more appeared. He gets his chance though, and although the first shot misses, the second finds its mark.
Still there? Maybe hold slightly higher at top of his head.
I got him.
You got him. Awesome.
Thank you.
I think the slug, because it's a bit lighter, it drops a bit more.
Yeah.
So we had to hold a bit higher, but got him second shot.
Okay, so this is my first ever Dassey. We'd come here once before and we tried to shoot, but there was nothing here. So unfortunately I missed out there, but today the weather was perfect and this gun makes it an easy job to get these guys out of here. So this one here is mine, this one was Matt's. Unfortunately we couldn't find Anton's because these guys are so good at getting down those holes, and these holes are so deep you can hardly reach inside there. So yeah, but I'm super happy with my first Dassey ever, and I think we'll wait a little bit and see if we can get some more.
This part of the farm has been a hot spot for monkeys in the past. We'd managed to get many down on these fields with the trusty 22-250, with the short soft grass allowing for steady prone shots at extended ranges. However, it seemed dead today, and my guess is just that with the veld being so green, the monkeys just had no need to raid the crops as much as they used to. This one makes the mistake of emerging from his hiding spot in the tree though, and from a little over 100 meters I managed to take a headshot with the impact. I was holding for wind here, but as you'll see, the slug flies dead straight and actually hits exactly where I was holding, skimming off the side of the head. The damage is done though, and he falls asleep on the spot. And this, I think, was probably the best shot of the day. I had to shoot off a single sandbag on the rails of the truck from over 100 meters once again, and it's a perfect headshot.
Dead. In the head.
The one on the left.
Yeah. In the head. Another one there. Oh, just missed him.
Don't know if you guys remember Janin, but the very first time I came here was with Janin. I've been friends with Janin since preschool days. We've known each other for many years, and I remember when I was really small, us talking about guns, and Janet always spoke about the farm and everything. And then a few years later in high school, we reconnected. He brought me out here, and I just really fell in love with the place. And we've got a video we made about 10 years ago shooting dassies, and Anton was like this small. He was struggling to carry a Dassie back then, so it's nice to see Janet again, and nice to, nice that we still stay connected and we're still friends. So awesome.
Remember when I said earlier that it's only when you retrieve an animal that you realize the true distance? Well, Anton must have wondered what the heck we were doing, because this recovery took forever. This monkey had been sitting in a tree right in a big donga that was extremely overgrown, and I felt like David Livingstone hacking my way through here with Janet.
In the Congo Highlands. Virunga National Park, there's a monkey.
So we finally got our monkey. We've had to work really hard to recover him, but it's good to know that I just actually get him down, and it wasn't just a figment of my imagination. But I don't think we're going to get him. He's deep down in a hole with thorns everywhere.
No.
I've had enough thorns for one day.
So, with a very eventful day drawing to an end and covered in scratches and bruises, we decide to make our way back towards the camp. We've all got a campfire and food on our minds, but knowing that there are many less fortunate than us who may not have food for tonight, we make a stop on the way home and drop the meat off so others can enjoy some protein for dinner.
Well, it's just gone 7 p.m. here at the camp, and we've got some beautiful weather this evening. It's cooled down a little bit, the wind has stopped, and we've got some slight overcast conditions, but not too bad. So we've invited Janan and Anton over. They're going to bring some lamb from this exact farm to cook, and it's going to be great to hang out with old friends again. Reflecting back on today, I'd say it's been a fantastic day, considering that it's quite hard to get any animals right now with it being so green and thick. Just finding them is difficult enough, but the fact that they're so spread out as well with all the natural food and no need to go moving around to look for food, that means we've had to move around a lot. So a really full day, and the best part for me is that we've been able to go to some new places. Anton taking us to 2 new spots this morning where we looked for dassies. I think that was probably the highlight of my morning. For Nicole to get her first Dassie with the impact, that was great. And then that last monkey shot with the air gun, 130 meters with a bit of wind as well, dropped it on the spot. So challenging day, but we took our opportunities, and I think just to end it off with some friends that I haven't seen for a very long time, like Janan, is going to be fantastic. So lamb chops, garlic bread, and some chips. Beers will come later. Great way to end off the day.
As is tradition, garlic bread goes on the coals nice and early for us to enjoy a starter while we sit and chat. And having been a couple years since I'd seen Janan, there was plenty of catching up to do. Anton, in the meantime, was our chef for the evening, and on the menu tonight, steak and lamb chops. And let me tell you, Anton may be young, but nobody cooks lamb chops like a sheep farmer, so I had very high expectations.
I'm basically gonna, after the chops, I'm gonna put the steak on, fry it just before it's done, then cut it into thin slits, and then I'll dip it into the Jimmy sauce, and then put it back on the grill, and hope for a good result. So as I'm cutting this meat up now, it's about rare, medium rare, and then I'm going to dip it into the Jimmy sauce and put it on the grill for about another 2 to 3 minutes, and then we hope it tastes nice.
Yes, it did taste as good as it looks, arguably even better if that's possible, and with full stomachs and happy hearts, it was time to hit the hay, ready for even more days of hunting that awaited us at fantastic Witmoskloof.